Hey, what's up guys? It's Raid Engineer here, and just around a year ago I bought my first DSLR camera, the Canon 550D, an entry-level camera from Canon. I literally just woke up one day and I decided, well, hey, I wanted a DSLR camera. I wanted to take my photography to the next level, and that's what I did. I bought the camera and I was so excited to go out and test it out. So the following day I went to the beach and I got some incredible shots. Even up to today, I still think that these shots are the best shots I ever took from this camera. And it was straight out of the camera too. Just a little bit of tweaking here and there, but these look incredible for a beginner, right? And the whole time I shot the whole thing in automatic because I didn't know how to use manual. I didn't know about exposure, aperture, ISO and all of that. I was still learning that. So I was so excited about this camera. I started shooting YouTube videos every day and all of that. I even went out to Chijin Island to make a vlog, and I went out there just testing out the camera, taking pictures, doing video and all of that thing. I was ready to consider myself a photographer then, but yeah, and that's what I did. The other times I went to the Dragon Tiger Pagodas with my friends and also did a vlog there, just taking pictures and really get a feel of the camera and what it can do and also its limitations. So some months after that I got into doing video. So I got inspired after watching the famous YouTubers such as Peter McKinnon, Potato Jet, Daniel Schiffer, and many others, and I said, hey, I want to try doing really neat videos like those. So that's what I started doing. I started practicing making my own B-roll content in my room because in 2020 COVID was a big deal then, and we didn't really want to take risks going out here and there and everywhere. So I just got creative in my room and made some B-roll. Eventually I went to the Tainan Park, which is just a park nearby me, and I got some really good shots there with my friends, of course, and that's how I got my practice. And the practice using the camera was one thing. I got familiar with using the ISO, shutter speed, aperture, all of that stuff, but also getting a lot of practice using the software such as Adobe Premiere Pro and also Lightroom. So practice using the software, and I believe it doesn't matter the equipment that you have. What really matters is your proficiency in using the software that I just mentioned, because anyone can go out and take pictures, anyone can go out and take videos, but your creativity and your talent really shows in what you can do with the software. So I think learning to use the software is more important than the equipment that you have. Well, to some extent, I would say. So after months of practicing, doing my own little stuff here, August came, September. I actually got my first paid gig as a photographer and videographer by BWA events. Now, that was a big thing for me because it was my first paid gig, and going to a nightclub, doing nightclub photography and making a promotional video for these event organizers. And I was so nervous back then. I wanted to make sure this went perfect because all of my friends were going there. They didn't know I was into this whole photography thing, so it was a big surprise. And surely enough, I wanted to pull out all the stops and just produce the best content that I have to impress everyone. So that's how it was. And it actually went pretty great. Well, mostly. See, I didn't have an external flash, so I had to use my pop-up flash on the camera, and the pictures wasn't so good, if I do say so myself. The video though, because of all the practice that I had before, just going out and practicing and also practice with the software, the video came out pretty good. if I do say so myself, I think it looks pretty good. I mean, all the effects and all of that I know, I think it came out pretty good. And the client was impressed. BWA was impressed with the content that I produced. And so after some time, they hired me for more events in the future. So I got to work more and more with them, producing more and more content for these event organizers. And in return, I also had content to put on my Instagram page and my other pages to build my portfolio. So that was the other important thing. The other important thing while working with these guys was the exposure that I got. I got to meet so many different people that say, hey, this guy is just starting out. Well, his content is pretty good, so why don't we give him a shot, stuff like that. And I met a lot of different people, and through that, I got a lot of different gigs as well. And eventually, I ended up joining the BWA team. I'm here permanently now, I think. permanently, yeah. So I ended up joining the BWA team, where I make content for them regularly now and just keep on adding them to my portfolio, and also getting other gigs on the side too, and just making extra money, because 2020 was a rough year. I needed to make extra cash, so everything just worked out. Although I never thought that the day I bought my first DSLR camera, I would end up this whole thing would end up being a business, a full-time business, where I have to promote my content, reach out and produce content so that my clients are happy. It ended up becoming a business, which I am dedicated to growing and improving, and so that whole thing there was completely unexpected. So I would say this whole pandemic thing wasn't all. It really brought out the creativity in people. That's what I also saw in this pandemic. It really brought people to get creative and really explore their talents to make money somehow, some way or the other. So that's one thing I can say about this pandemic. So a year later now, actually, I just came from Taipei, where I did a nightclub photography gig for a client. And after spending a couple days working on the photos and all of that, I sent them in. Boom, they're not impressed with it. They didn't like it at all. They simply told me my photos are not up to the standards that they are accustomed to. So I was like, wow, okay. So what do we do now? Because it's not like we can go and shoot the thing over. The event already passed. So I just said, well, I edited these photos to the best of my ability, and if you don't like them, well, I'm sorry. I could have edited it over, but honestly, I really took my time and went through each and every one of these pictures and really edited them. I guess I could have retouched them a bit more, but honestly, there's really nothing I could have done, really and truly. And that brings me to my next point, which is the limitations of this camera. The Canon 550D has some big limitations, especially in the area that I'm using it for. So mostly nowadays I'm doing nightclub photography and videography in very poor lighting and uncontrolled settings, and that's where this camera really falls short. It doesn't have good dynamic range, and that's one of the main things, and it doesn't have good low light performance, and it's been a real setback. And now is the time when I realized, like, hey, if you really want to take your content to the next level, you need to upgrade. So the other day I went to the second-hand camera store and I spotted a Sony A7R, well, just the Sony A7R, the first one. And I was like, I was gonna save a bit more for the Sony A7R II, but this is right there, and for a deal too. So I was like, I'm so tempted. I think I might end up getting it, but either way, that would be a big upgrade from what I have now. Miles upgrade from what I have now. I really do need that full frame sensor that would dramatically help me in low light situations. Paired with a good lens, I mean, you know, it's only going up from here. So yeah, a year later, I still am shooting from this camera. I still do have this camera, and I'm planning to move on. The 550D has been incredible for me. I recommend this camera for any new photographers, videographers that is just getting into the field. This is a great camera to start out from. But for my needs and what I do now, since this thing is a business now, I am looking to upgrade to a full frame camera with good autofocus and good low light performance. If you need a photographer or a videographer and you're in Taiwan, hit me up. Links are in the description down below. Follow me on Instagram, on Facebook, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I really appreciate the support. You know, I don't want to ask for money, but well, hey, if you can support me in any kind of way to, you know, help uplift my business that I have going now, that would be excellent. So thank you so much for watching. Subscribe, like, share, and follow my Instagram. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.